Welcome to the Nut Gallery Review podcast. We bring you the news and the media that shapes your world.
Welcome to episode 182. I'm Jason Schulte.
I'm Sean McFadden.
And a couple news bits to start it off with is the house that was used in The Conjuring is for sale for 1.2 million. Nope. Yeah, there's no way I could live there. No way. Even if it was free, like get rid of the 1.2 million price tag and I still don't want it.
No. Just no.
I'm sure there will be people that want that, and maybe it'll make a nice, quaint little bed and breakfast or something, but
someone with a good idea for some marketing could probably make a pretty penny, but it won't be me.
Marvel Studios is suing to keep Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Avengers from their air. They're suing the heirs of the creators to keep control of the property. So
I saw this headline and I intentionally didn't read it because I wasn't sure if it was just, some clickbait or if it was just something to make me upset. And people fighting over intellectual rights always kind of upsets me. So I let this one go.
Well, it is what it is. So I guess Marvel will probably win because they have, billions of dollars behind them.
There's that. I mean, did you read the article then, Jay?
I just read enough to know that the heirs of the creators were trying to get back control of the property a bit, and Marvel didn't like that so much.
I mean, what's their end game is my big question. I mean, do they just I don't know. I mean,
probably both sides are seeing dollar signs, so it's worth fighting over.
There's that.
Into other news, though, just to keep it moving, is Super Mario Brothers movie has Chris Pratt to voice Mario, Charlie Day to voice Luigi, Anya Taylor to voice Joy to voice Peach, and Keegan Michael Key from Keely and Key to voice Toad, and of course Jack Black to voice Bowser.
I'm just glad because when I initially saw this, I thought, oh God, they're making another live action Super Mario Bros. I'm okay with it being animated.
That's the best course of action.
Yes. We don't need another train wreck like Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario, whatever the hell they called it.
Yeah.
Dumpster fire. That's what it was called.
All right, we'll move right into the movie classic, and it was Mike's pick, who is not here
Actually,
tonight.
It was me.
Was it you?
It was my pick.
I'm sorry. That felt like a Mike pick.
No, this was one that I had not seen. And my fiance was rather insistent that I watch this. So I figured I might as well make it the movie classic. So this was my pick. I had really no preconceptions going into it. So I had just seen the trailer and I said, why not? I was having trouble picking a classic anyway, so might as well rock it, right?
All right, well, you're going to introduce it then?
Man, how does one introduce this movie? Long story short, it's two competing magicians that are trying to one-up each other, and it gets pretty personal pretty fast. And there's a little behind the scenes, and it's a little kind of a fair amount of misdirection and things like that. But I think that's pretty much the two of them trying to outdo each other.
I don't know that you've ever said the title yet.
I'm sorry. Prestige. The Prestige is the movie title that we are putting as our movie classic this month.
All right.
Jane, had you seen this before?
I had not seen this before.
Really? So this was both of ours first watch.
Yep.
What do you think?
Oh, how deep do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah, this is one of those movies that we have to be careful with how much we say. I think we can keep it fairly surface level. I mean, this came out in 97?
It was 2000 something.
It might be 2006. You are correct.
Well, I guess let's start with the elephant in the room. It has an all-star cast, so
That is true.
they're from top to bottom, and it has Christopher Nolan directing.
Good directing, writing, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So, I mean, the who's who of should be attached to a project like this was attached.
Yeah.
You have Hugh Jackman, you have Christian Bale, who's trying to lock me up in this chain there in the picture. You have Scarlett Johansson, you have
Michael Caine.
Yeah, I was going to say Batman's butler, but
as Cutter.
Yeah. So just the list kind of goes on and on.
Actually, the one that kind of caught me off guard was freaking David Bowie as Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, that was like, a very very cool.
Yeah, and I thought he pulled off the role pretty well.
So I mean so you can look at that and go, I'm kind of interested in it just because of who's in this and who directed it.
Mm-hmm. And the number of memes that came from this movie, that time that Black Widow, was dating Wolverine and Batman,
Yeah. Yeah, so it was directed by Christopher Nolan. Jonathan and Christopher Nolan were writers on it. Christopher Priest did the novel. So there's a lot here. Andy Serkis was in it.
Yes, Andy Serkis was indeed in it. Absolutely.
So
to your point though, the casting was top notch. There was some names attached, absolutely. And I think without the caliber of actor that they had, I'm not sure that this film would have done as well. Because you needed the charisma and the presence of Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale to really hold this together. And I think without that, the movie loses something. But they did, in fact, they brought their A game, and I think it went well there. Early on in the movie, Hugh Jackman's character Angier and Christian Bale's character Alfred are studying under Michael Caine's character Cutter and kind of learning the ropes and everything of being a stage musician. And they are plants in the audience for this current magician out there. And so they're doing this, and Alfred says, hey, we should try this other knot, and it'll I don't remember exactly why he wants to try the other knot. It'll hold better or something like that. And everyone else says, no, don't do that, it'll be too hard for her to slip. And I think this kind of sets up the animosity between the two of them, because you see them kind of change the knot, and afterwards he says he doesn't remember, but Angier's wife dies during the trick, and consequently they went from having a more or less friendly antagonistic relationship to being deeply personal, because Angier, of course, blames Alfred for the death of his wife and sets off kind of the course between the two of them, where trying to one up each other isn't enough. Trying to humiliate and hurt the others is really where it comes in. And before I let this over to you here, Michael Caine, as the I forget the exact name that they have for him in the movie, but basically the behind the scenes guy making up the trick and everything like that. is perfect in that role. And honestly, I can't think of any time Michael Caine has been bad in a role, but just his composure and his bearing um, just lends a fair amount of just culture and believability to this role. And I think if we're really gonna kind of put a shiny star sticker on someone, it's got to be Michael Caine for this movie.
No, I think you're right. Michael Caine was pretty good. It's kind of interesting. This is a film about magicians, and it's so
Yes.
laced full of illusion and trickery and deception and twists and turns, and that's all in reference to the story and how it unfolds, not what's happening in the movie. So it's a movie that's completely built on the surprise ending.
Yes.
So
or endings. Jeez.
sure.
That was kind of my one kind of down. My one thing I didn't care for about the movie is it felt like the movie ended like 2 or 3 times before it ended.
Yeah, and I guess where I was going with that is if a movie's going to build that its whole, like the whole buildup of the movie is reliant on this twist and turn, it needs to deliver. And it might have delivered one of them, but when you ask for 3 deliveries there, I feel like it maybe didn't deliver on all of them. It's also a movie that's very hard to know who to root for because it's so in flux. Like 1 minute you're wanting to root for this guy, and then the other guy does such a terrible thing that you're like, yeah, I can't root for him anymore. So you're back rooting for the other guy. It just kind of goes back and forth on who to root for. I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm just saying you go through this journey being like, I don't really know who the bad guy is here.
Yeah. Though I'll be 100% honest. I did pick a side early on in the movie, and I was with Angier. So I kind of disliked Alfred or Freddy. And I stuck with Angier. So though both of them do some really, how do I say this PC on a podcast, shady things to each other.
Yeah, and even to themselves.
Yeah.
The other kind of weird thing about this movie to me is it was using illusion, magic tricks, and then it kind of went on to this. Tesla gets introduced, and it goes to almost techno mage style
sci-fi. Yeah.
And so that felt like a weird combination that it just felt kind of weird at the end.
I think they kind of had to, because it was one of those crazy things. And then of course, the stuff around Tesla, that's not that far out of it, but yeah, that was one of the things of like, oh no, we're gonna throw reality in here. Okay. But yeah, it was one of those things I was like, oh, okay, we're stretching a little bit, but we are watching a movie about 2 magicians trying to out trick each other. So
yeah, and I without spoiling anything, it's really hard to say why that's kind of frustrating. In the reveal at the end, multiple reveals at the end, there's just an element of that was a little bit frustrating, but again, the movie had me riveted. I had to know how it was going to turn out. I had to know just continuing to see the lengths that these two are going at each other. You almost wish that they would have just went out in a back alley and beat the tar out of each other and went their own ways. It wouldn't have made a very interesting movie. But that's where you get to you get these two just pulling all stops to to best each other. And Michael Caine's character is just kind of caught in the middle, and
Yeah.
even he who knows them best isn't even sure which side to pick.
I mean, I did feel he sided a little bit more with Angier, but he was trying to kind of push him back towards like, hey, maybe we're going a little too far. So
He may have, but he also doesn't completely pick.
yeah.
So those are my thoughts. It was an enjoyable film. I have no qualms saying it's a classic, but it does have a few flaws here and there.
It does have a few flaws, but I feel honestly with this movie, I think the flaws, we literally pick at them because otherwise the movie presents a really good show. And I feel like it's just nitpicking a little bit, but I was engrossed. I needed to know how it ended, how it went on, and at the end of the day, I mean, that's what a good film is. So I say yes, absolutely, if it's a classic.
I don't think it's nitpicking. I think it's just being realistic.
Okay.
But you call it what you want.
Okay.
So we'll close the vault on The Prestige, our movie classic of the month, and unless you had anything else to add.
No, if you have not seen it, take the time to actually sit down, make sure you don't have any distractions going on, because this is not one of those movies that you want to pause in the middle of and go get some popcorn. It's one that you just want to sit straight through.
All right, movie releases for October.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Starting out on October 1st is The Addams Family 2. Is PG. Everyone's favorite spooky family is back in the new animated comedy sequel, The Addams Family 2. In this all-new movie, the Addams get tangled up in a wacky adventure and find themselves involved in a hilarious run-ins with all sorts of unsuspecting characters. Always staying true to themselves, the Addams Family brings their iconic spookiness and kookiness wherever they go. The first film, released in 2019, grossed over $200 million in worldwide box office on a $24 million budget.
I saw the beginning of the first animated one. My fiance loves it. I don't know, I was too put off, I think, by the animation style that I couldn't really enjoy it.
I have not seen it, but it seems like every commercial out has some connection to Addams Family right now.
Yeah.
Even like stuff that doesn't even directly reference Addams Family still has the music going, and
yeah,
it's kind of,
they're certainly marketing the hell out of it.
Yeah. Also, October 1st is The Many Saints of Newark. Young Anthony Soprano is growing up in one of the most tumultuous eras in Newark's history, becoming a man just as a rival gangster begins to rise up and challenge the all-powerful DeMio crime family's hold over the increasingly race-torn city. Director Alan Taylor, who directed Terminator Genesis and Thor: The Dark World, is the director.
Those aren't exactly great feathers in his cap, though.
No, and I've never watched The Sopranos, but this looks good. Like, this could be a jumping in point, I think, for some people to get into that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it does look like it's well enough done that could be your gateway drug.
Yeah, absolutely.
October 8th, No Time to Die. It is PG-13, which is typical of Bond films. In No Time to Die, Bond has left active service and is enjoying a tranquil life in Jamaica. His peace is short-lived when his old friend Felix Leiter from the CIA turns up asking for help. The mission to rescue a kidnapped scientist turns out to be far more treacherous than expected, leading Bond onto the trail of a mysterious villain armed with dangerous new technology. It does star Daniel Craig and Ralph Fiennes.
So, having seen the trailer, Do you really believe what they're alluding to, that this is quote unquote the last Bond movie?
I think it'll be Daniel Craig's last Bond movie.
Correct. So you think they're just kind of doing that for like, hey, this is his send off? Because
Yes.
it almost felt like they were like, hey, Bond's ending. And I'm like,
No.
they're not going to let that go.
No, that's not happening. And winning the most bizarre award of the month on October 8th is a movie called Lamb. It is R for some bloody, violent images and sexuality and nudity. A childless couple in rural Iceland makes an alarming discovery one day in their sheep barn. They soon face the consequences of defying the will of nature.
I watched the trailer for this and I kind of sat there going, well, what? What's going on? I mean, did it say it won a Canes award there? But like, I'm still kind of like, what's going on? And I felt like half the trailers this month, I was like, what is going on? I have no idea.
There's a scene in the trailer where they like are walking this sheep on two legs like it's a kid.
Yeah.
And they're holding its hand, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah. I'm not sure about this one. I think I might end up just maybe seeing it just to know what the hell's going on, or just going, you know what? There are some mysteries I don't need to know.
Well, I will be just fine not knowing that mystery. I'll let you watch it and you can report back to us. Inquiring minds want to know what you thought of Lamb. October 15th is a small little film, low budget, no CGI, called Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's PG-13. Tom Hardy as Venom and Woody Harrelson as Carnage. I don't know that you need to know much more than that.
So can we talk about the fact that this was originally slated to be an R movie with Carnage, and then they dial it down to PG-13?
I guess I'm not against that.
The
original Venom was PG-13 and it was fine.
Yes, but Carnage, I don't know. I mean, I have seen them do some really phenomenal stuff with PG-13, but it just feels like a Carnage movie kind of needed to be rated R, but we'll see.
I think it'll be fine. It is directed by Andy Serkis. The second time we have mentioned his name tonight.
Did not know that.
And the original Venom grossed 570 million worldwide. So
they took some liberties with the Venom character in the first one, but I did enjoy it. So
yeah, I mean, it had it. Again, it's a pretty dang good movie that has a few flaws.
If you were super attached to the Venom character, and the comics and everything like that, I can see how you'd get a little upset, because they do take a fair amount of liberties with a fair amount of the stuff there. That being said, I still found it to be an enjoyable movie. So
it's where I'm at.
Yep.
Moving on to October 15th. I guess I'm not moving on. Also, October 15th is Halloween Kills. Is R for strong bloody violence throughout, grisly images, language, and some drug use. Minutes after Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, her daughter Karen, Judy Greer, and granddaughter Allison left masked monster Michael Myers caged and burning in Laurie's basement. Laurie is rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, believing she finally killed her lifelong tormentor. But when Michael manages to free himself from Laurie's trap, his ritual bloodbath resumes. As Laurie fights her pain and prepares to defend herself against him, she inspires all of Haddonfield to rise up against this unstoppable monster. Directed by David Gordon Green, who directed 2018 Halloween and will be directing Halloween Ends in 2022. So this is a movie between the two.
I'm kind of sad that they let us know that Halloween Ends is coming. It kind of, I don't know, leaves you, I guess, feeling a little unfinished then for this one before it even comes out.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't end here.
Of course.
And it probably doesn't end with Halloween Ends. So
Probably not.
I'm sure Mike would enjoy this. He tends to enjoy all the Halloween films. So
Indeed.
on Mike's behalf, Halloween Kills. October 15th, The Last Duel is rated R for strong violence, including sexual assault, sexual content, some graphic nudity, and language. When Jean de Caros, a Norman knight, returns from combat in Scotland to find his wife, Margaret, accusing Jacques Legris, her husband's old friend and fellow courtier, of brutally raping her, the knight takes his cause before the teenage King Charles VI. Stars Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck. Is directed by Ridley Scott.
Did not know Ridley Scott was attached to that. It looks interesting.
For something Matt Damon's attached to, it looks pretty good.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't mind seeing this. Also, moving to October 22nd is Dune. It's PG-13. A mythic and emotionally charged hero's journey. Dune tells a story of Paul Atreides, brilliant and gifted young man born into a great destiny beyond his understanding. He must travel to the most dangerous planet in the universe to ensure the future of his family and his people. The malevolent forces explode into conflict over the planet's exclusive supply of the most precious resource in existence, a commodity capable of unlocking humanity's greatest potential. Only those who can conquer their fear will survive.
The spice must flow.
Yeah, until you realize what the spice is.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. This has gotten rave reviews, so I'm really excited to see this. I read the first book, so what this is based on, and they've tried many times to capture that. So I'm really hopeful that this one actually does.
It looks really good. I mean, all the trailers and behind the scenes stuff looks really, really good. And Jason Momoa says that he has watched it now several times and enjoys it every time. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping they knock this one out of the park. I did read Dune, but I mean, we're talking 30 some years ago now that I read Dune. So it's going to be some surprises for me, but here's hoping that, as you said, they knock this one out of the park.
October 22nd is Ron's Gone Wrong. It is PG. It is animated as well. The story of Barney, a socially awkward middle schooler, and Ron, his new walking, talking, digitally connected device, which is supposed to be his best friend out of the box. Ron's hilarious malfunctions, set against the backdrop of the social media age, launch him into an action-packed journey in which the boy and robot come to terms with the wonderful messiness of true friendship.
I don't think this one's going to be that great.
My initial feeling was this was going to be very much like the Emoji Movie, which was not very good. October 29th.
I wouldn't give it that far. But yeah, I don't think this one's going to be very good.
October 29th, A Mouthful of Air is R for language. Julie Davis, warm, kind, loving to her husband and child, is a best-selling children's author. While her books deal with unlocking childhood fears, she has yet to unlock the dark secret that has haunted her life. But when her second child is born, events occur that bring the secret to the fore, and with it, a crushing and powerful battle to survive.
This is another one of those like that I saw the trailer and I was like, what is actually happening here?
Yeah, there's a few on this list as I see coming up. October 29th, My Hero Academia World Heroes. In My Hero Academia World Heroes, Mission UA High School students Azuka. Oh gosh, I can never do these names.
It's okay. You can just say My Hero Academia. If you're a fan, you know. I did not watch the trailer for this one because I'm still in the middle of watching My Hero Academia. So I didn't want any spoilers.
All right. Well, if you're further along than Sean in this process, then you'll want to go see this, I'm sure. Here's weirdness again. October 29th, a movie called Antlers. R for violence, including gruesome images, and for language. A small town Oregon teacher, Carrie Russell, and her brother, Jesse Plemons, the local sheriff, become entwined with a young student harboring a dangerous secret with frightening consequences. And those dangerous consequences have to do with antlers.
I just sat there going, what? Sure.
Almost in disbelief that like this got made and is going to be released. I mean, I know it's COVID times, but you guys pick some doozies. And finally, on October 29th, Last Night at Soho, Edgar Wright's psychological thriller about a young girl's passionate in fashion design, who's mysteriously able to enter the 1960s, where she encounters her idol, a dazzling wannabe singer. But 1960s London is not what it appears, and time seems to fall apart with shady consequences.
This is another one of those I shook my head at a little bit, but at least this one looks interesting and intriguing. So they set enough of a hook that I was like, what's going on? But I don't know. I'm intrigued, but we'll see.
All right. Well, I will have to go with my number 3 is No Time to Die. My number 2 is Dune, and number 1 is Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I will probably take your exact same list there, except I'm going to swap your 1 and 2. And honestly, I'm probably not going to see No Time to Die because I've not really enjoyed Daniel Craig as Bond.
So you're going to go with Dune as your number 1?
Dune is my number 1.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
I'm most excited to see Dune. Let There Be Carnage, I am going to see, but I really hope they didn't mess this up because there's been enough kind of red flags coming down the final stretch that I'm worried about Let There Be Carnage. Dune looks so good. Like, I'm excited for it. So yeah, Dune's my number 1.
All right. Streaming and Blu-ray releases.
Ooh, we're calling it that now. All right. Coming to home video, we've got week of October 5th, we've got Space Jam, A New Legacy. We have Escape Room, Tournament of Champions.
Zero interest in Space Jam.
Zero and negative interest in Space Jam. I'm actually, I've gone out of my way to not see anything about this.
I actually called relatives and said, hey, can you take my son to this? He really wants to go see it. And this would be a great opportunity for you guys to go do this together. And I couldn't even get him to take him up on it. I tried.
Oh, God. Yeah, I did not want to see Space Jam, A New Legacy. I enjoyed the old Space Jam. Yes, it was Michael Jordan, who is not known for his acting chops. Yes, it had a little bit of ham-fisted comedy, but it's the Looney Tunes, man. So this one, I don't know. I've been pressured a little bit to go see it, but I do not want to see it. Zero interest. 6 Minutes to Midnight, which I did write down here the bumper because I don't remember if we talked about that or not. In the mere days before the start of World War II, Thomas Miller accepts a teaching position at a finishing school in England. His students consist of daughters of the most high-ranking German officers and officials, the most influential families in Nazi Germany. In this bubble, the tension between England and Nazi Germany is swept under the rug, and girls are taught and brought up to be prepared to be members of Hitler's League of German Girls. With war on the horizon, Miller attempts to infiltrate the school and find out what is going on behind closed doors. So kind of a tension and intrigue movie there. We also have Broken Diamonds. A brother has to take care of his schizophrenic sister while taking care of his father's final wishes. Week of October 12th is probably going to be the 2 movies that I'm most looking forward to. We have Free Guy, which if you haven't heard of, then you must have just taken a few months away from social media. And Green Knight, the story of, the Green Knight and then English lore. I'm looking forward to both of those. Week of October 19th, we've got Old from good old Shyamalan. Yeah, I know. Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe movie about the character Snake Eyes, which
it was decent.
Yeah, did you like it?
I did.
Okay.
It felt too short, and it felt like they just like had this like grand ideas, and then they just tried to cram it all in instead of like, hey, maybe we should make 3 or 4 movies out of this. But there's some fantastic fight scenes, and
That's cool.
there's a little bit of supernatural element to it too. And I love the bike. So if you want to buy me a Christmas present, they have an electric bike in there. It's amazing.
Okay.
I love it.
Oh, okay. Good to know. We have the Protege. And then we have DC's animated Injustice, which will be a popular one. Week of October 26th, we have The Suicide Squad, which, did you get a chance to watch that, Jay?
No.
I'm not supposed to admit this, but I enjoyed it.
Why are you not supposed to admit this?
So, it kind of caused a mental breakdown for my fiance. So yeah, she did not enjoy the movie, and I was like, I'm kind of enjoying this. So
did you like the first one?
The first one was all right. I mean, it wasn't I don't think it was as polished as it could have been, and there were some holes, but overall it was decent, I thought.
It was very in the vein of DC movies.
Yeah. We have Don't Breathe 2.
I kind of want to see this. I saw the first one, and it surprisingly was enjoyable. I wasn't expecting as good of a film as it was. And seeing this, again, you didn't know who to root for in that movie just for a while. And so now this is going to be very clear who you're rooting for. And I'm kind of looking forward to the blind guy kicking some butt.
We've got Stillwater starring Matt Damon. Father moves to France to try to clear his daughter's name.
This looked good when it came out, and I just didn't get to it. So hopefully.
And then our final video release here is On the Rocks, starring Rashida Jones and Bill Murray. Father and daughter are trying to discover if her husband is cheating on her. And that is your movie releases.
So I'm really wanting to see Green Knight. I did not get to see that.
I didn't get to see it either, but I really want to.
I'm not sure if it's a purchase one, though, or just trying to figure out when it actually streams, as well as Free Guy. I don't know how, like, it's a movie I'd want in my collection. So, and that goes for Don't Breathe, too. I think once you see it, it's not one of those movies you're going to want to watch over and over again.
Yeah, once you know the ending.
Video game releases, and we have a rather big list because it is October and everything's got to come out so that's ready for Christmas.
No, of course.
It's Christmas time already. We skip Halloween, we skip right over Thanksgiving, we go right to Christmas.
It's shopping season now.
At the end of September, so everyone get you have like 100 and some shopping days. So get going. Actually, like 90. Sorry. October 1st, FIFA 22 soccer. If you don't know FIFA, you're probably not going to buy it. BPM, bullets per minute, on the PS4, Xbox, October 5th. It's a first-person shooter. October 5th also has Hell Let Loose on the PS5 and Xbox. This is a historical war shooter. Jett, The Far Shore. On October 5th, it's a PS5, PS4 release, exploration and discovery game. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania on October 5th, PS5, Xbox, PS4, Switch.
I'm glad to see that it's still getting releases.
Yeah, and I can see where it can still be a fun game.
But the gameplay is kind of simple, but I think that's what makes it fairly timeless.
Far Cry 6 on the PC, PS5, Xbox.
Another thing that they are promoting the heck out of.
On October 7th is the Lightbringer on the Switch. This is an action adventure puzzle game. October 7th on the Xbox is Moonglow Bay. This is rebuilding the economy of a paradise town. Be an interesting concept. October 8th, Knockout Home Fitness on the Switch. Fitness game.
Okay.
October 8th, Metroid Dread on the Switch. This is certainly on my list. I've always been a fan of the Metroid series.
They have made some good ones, absolutely.
This is kind of a cool idea. On October 8th is Tetris Effect Connected. So this is on the Switch. It has solo, cooperative, and competitive play. So you can play solo, you can play cooperative to beat missions with somebody, or you can play online competitively.
I have to laugh the fact that, you know, Tetris, which I remember playing on the original Game Boy in black and white, is still just knocking games out.
This, yeah, and this is kind of a whole new take. So that's kind of a cool concept. On October 12th, Back for Blood on the PS5, Xbox, a zombie first-person shooter. Godstrike on the Xbox, PS4 on October 14th is a third-person adventure shooter. Jackbox Party Games Pack 8 is on October 14th. Runs on just about everything. Run Raiders, October 14th. Switch PC, top-down turn-based adventure shooter. Demon Slayer, the Hikonami Chronicles, PS4, Xbox. It is a side fighter like Mortal Kombat. The Good Life, October 15th. PC, PS, and Xbox Tropical Paradise Simulator. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, PS, Xbox, October 15th. Business Management RPG. Into the Pit, PC, Xbox, October 19th, first-person shooter. Tandem, A Tale of Shadows, October 21st, PS, PC, Xbox, Switch. This has a unique perspective adventure game. And then L.O.L. Surprise Movie Night on the Switch. I didn't really find a whole lot about this, so
that is one heck of a title.
October 26th. And then also October 26th is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy on the PS, Xbox, Switch. It's an adventure fighting game that looks pretty darn good.
Hopefully they do better than the Marvel Avengers.
You'd almost have to. You could like cough up a lung and spit in a cup and it'd be better than that game. It was terrible. My son got it for Christmas and I think he played it once and he's never went back to it. Yeah,
that's what everyone that I've talked to about it said why.
And then, you know, that for me, Rogue Squadron was that. I could not get into it. I think I've played it once.
You're talking about the newer one?
Yeah.
I've played it a little bit. But it's one of those ones where that's got to be the game that you are playing. So I was waiting until that was going to be the game. So.
And you're still waiting?
I am.
So it'll probably never happen.
Unfortunately, my PS4 is primarily there for family entertainment at this point. So me trying to, play a game on it right now is a little harder. Playing games on the PC is a little easier to pull off.
Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, PC, PS, Xbox, Switch on October 28th. Riders Republic, PC, PS, Xbox, Stadia, October 28th. It's racing on skis, bikes, and more. So it's a multi-faceted racing game. And then finally, at the end, Mario Party Superstars on the Switch on October 29th.
All right, then.
So I guess My list is pretty Switch dominant. I want Mario Party Superstars. I want Metroid Dread, and then either Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy or FIFA. But
Sounds like a decent list.
yeah. So that brings us to what have you been up to lately? And I read We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. Not a big fan. Another one of those stories that really relies on the switch at the twist at the end, and it just wasn't enjoyable.
Oh, boo. Yeah, go ahead.
I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually really enjoyed this book more than I probably should have, but it was just a whole lot of fun. And I tend to not like books that bounce back and forth in the timeline, and this book was all over the place with the timeline, and it actually worked.
Oh, okay.
So it's about the sons and daughters of a wealthy, well-known singer who's basically abandoned them and left them to fend for themselves, and they're coming of age. So, but as they're coming of age, it keeps doing flashbacks of what would have got to that point. So all the way back to their father and mother meeting. So it worked. And then, as you saw the other day, I've been playing.
Jay, your audio just cut out. No, I cannot hear you. There you are.
Hey, so I was playing Chaos Paint.
Oh, yes.
As you saw, that's a Warhammer game that has a fair amount of fighting.
Yeah.
And then
Diablo-esque, if you will.
Yeah. And then lots of cool upgrades and things as you go along. And then I played Malacca. It's a video game that was Games with Gold this month. It's based on real Native American beliefs and spiritual stuff, and you're going around collecting things and participating in some of their legends. And so it's just kind of a really kind of fun little game. You spend a lot of time fighting scorpions by the hundreds.
Decimating a population. Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's been fun. I haven't gotten to play it a lot, but the few times I've sat down and played it, I've enjoyed the presentation.
Okay. Me?
Yeah.
All right. I finished the Hellslingers book 1, Mark of Cain, which, if there was a second book in the series, I'd feel better about. But this came out in 2017, and I have a feeling they're never releasing the second book, which means that the way the book ends is just kind of it's building, and then and kind of honestly left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. It's from Privateer Press's books there in the Iron Kingdoms, and I've been enjoying them, but I've got a whole bunch of books of this is the first in the series, and I'm kind of wondering if this was a whole bunch of them that they never planned on releasing a second book. So now I'm a little gun shy on starting one of those. Also been enjoying, surprisingly, actually, the Monster Codex for Pathfinder. It's a different kind of take on a rule book. They're just kind of going like, hey, not all monsters are going to be the same. Not all goblins are going to be like all goblins. Not all kobolds are going to be like all kobolds, and kind of showing a bit more of their civilization, their ecology, and what others would pursue in there. And it's actually been really a fun read so far. As far as movies, I have been enjoying um, old MST3K movies on YouTube there. I'm in the middle of watching The Sword and the Dragon, which is kind of fun so far. Started yesterday and today watching the new Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. It's kind of like, little short story episodes set in the Star Wars universe in an anime style. And the quality of the episodes it varies pretty hard. So far, I've seen two good episodes, one okay episode, and one what the hell episode. So, and I have been enjoying Automa Chef on PC. It's kind of a puzzle solving thing there where you have to build a kitchen that is run automatically by machines there, and you have to build it so that your customers will get what they're ordering and without using too much electricity and not using too many ingredients, things like that. So it's been a fair amount of fun.
I should mention that I just watched Venom for the first time last week.
Oh, nice.
So it was fresh in my mind when I was saying I appreciated the action of that movie. And we've been watching the Dead Zone TV series that came out, I think, in the 90s. And it's actually, I've been enjoying it. It's gotten better. They had a couple episodes in a row where you're like, why did I start this? And I did go into it knowing that they didn't get the final season. It just was canceled. So it's going to end with no real ending.
Yeah.
But we're used to that. I think any good series probably ends that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess, I shouldn't say that. I've watched a lot of good series that have come to a complete close, but it seemed to be kind of a thing with that kind of era and sci-fi-ish TV series. So, so yeah, it's been a busy month.
It has. I think we can close it out, Jay.
All right. Until next time.
Good night, everybody.